Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
That's right. And we got a great show lined up for you this evening, man. We have Eli Underhill in the studio from Underhill's Circle Hook Distilling, located here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, doing rum. We're going to talk about rum this evening. That's kind of a new thing for us. We haven't covered that yet.
The other brown liquor.
That's right. We might talk about pirates. I don't know. Where the conversation is going to go.
Colonial spirit.
Colonial spirit. All right. We're going to get into it. But before we do, like we always do, we're going to thank the people who keep the lights on for us here at the Brownwater Studios. Right out of the gate, our good buddy, Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. 2023 is about to wrap up, but it's still the year to keep your mouth clean. So when you need to make that appointment, you can hit him up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook and Instagram. And when you're ready to book that appointment, give him a shout at 228-215-1202. Book that appointment and tell them that we sent you. Our buddy Tyler over at Taylor & Cox Law Firm, man. They've been practicing law in Pascagoula for 30 years. They come highly recommended in their field. They represent Jackson County, George County, Greene County, the Mississippi Gulf Coast. If you find yourself in need for legal representation for any reason, give them a shout at 228-696-0111. They specialize in all the things that you may need, felonies, misdemeanors, DUIs, family law, divorce, child custody, any number of things. You need legal representation, you want Taylor & Cox on your side. And we also want to thank them for sponsoring the Brownwater Banter app. They sponsored it for the pretty much the whole year, half the year. They
covered good 6 months.
Yeah, big chunk. So we appreciate that support as well. Moving along, we have Rocky over at Sea to Swamp. You can look them up on Facebook. See the number 2 and then Swamp. He's got 2 locations in Goshen and Gulfport. He's got all your tackle and apparel needs covered. Carrying brownwater gear as well. Doing reel repair. I mean, if you need a reel, you need a rod, you need a kayak. Rocky has got you covered. He's got the extra tough boots. He's got there's the kayak there that's slinging that out of his Biloxi.
He's got a tournament this weekend.
The Fisherman's
tournament.
Saturday. All right, yeah, and that's a tournament that he does yearly to raise money. Actually, like donates toys, right?
Mm-hmm.
People donate toys and they donate it to families in need. So it's a great cause, and go check him out. There's the tournament, man, and support. But Kendrick over at Forever Young Men and Women's Health. You can also look them up on Facebook. If you find yourself, it's December. January's right around the corner. New Year's resolutions. Everybody's about to make that commitment to get back into the gym. Well, you may be feeling a little lazy. You may be feeling like a big turd and you can't get off the couch. If that's you, go to Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Make an appointment. By doing so, just call 228-363-6623. Book that appointment. Put your care in the hands of a professional. Let them run some lab work on you. Check out your vitamins. Check out your hormones. You may need testosterone replacement. You may be vitamin deficient. Kendrick can figure it out, get you back on track to get that, that 24 beach bod in the works. Get rid of that dad bod. Like
you think you can get your beach bod?
No, I've given up. I've given up complete hope. But that's just me. That's not nothing to do with Kendrick. And rounding out the sponsors here, Randy Bosarge, man, representing Jackson County District Supervisor. We appreciate him. He banged out the end of the year with us after the election cycle. We're going to get him back on after the first of the year and talk about the continued progression of Jackson County. And we're very happy about that because it's growing.
It's definitely growing.
It's growing. Beat you again?
Yep, you beat me.
Sweet. Okay, good. Eli, thank you for stopping by this evening and chatting with us, man. Like I mentioned in the intro, we haven't covered anything that I'm aware of, Joey, about rum.
No.
At all.
So we're going to be rum noobs.
Yeah.
I hope you're pleasantly surprised.
Yes. And right out of the gate, I've drank rum before. Not a huge rum drinker. But I'm very much supportive of anything that's going on down here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and can't wait to jump in and check out some of the stuff that you brought here on the table.
Oh,
we always like to take people from the backstory. So where do you come from? Were you born here? What's your trade? How did you get into distilling of the spirits?
I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, California.
Okay.
My father was born in California. Mother was born in California. Parents, my great-grandparents actually moved to Pasadena in the 1800s. Before that, on both sides of my family, great-grandparents moved to Red Bluff, California. So I'm a Californian.
Yeah.
Please don't hold it against me.
No. We had a little bit of a chat beforehand. I might would have placed my bets differently had I known that little factoid. But glad to know that you're one of the good ones.
I'm fond of telling people that I'm a refugee from a socialist republic.
That's a good way. That's a good way to describe it. And apparently, there's a lot of those flooding. Everybody talks about the southern border. Nobody's talking about, what would that be, the West Coast border.
Oh, yeah.
They're flooding from the West Coast border and coming across, So good to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But so other than that, how'd you end up down here?
My wife, Amy, is from Gulfport.
Okay.
She was born and raised down here.
Right.
So it's a long story.
Go ahead. We got a lot of time.
All right, cool. So I was born and raised in California. And I was just drawn to the ocean there from an early age. I started working on boats off the West Coast, fishing boats primarily, sports fishing boats, larger ones, 50, 60 footers, and an 80 footer in there too, and diving. Remember the Conception fire, the one that killed a bunch of people and burnt down. It's a terrible story. Killed 34 people. Anyway, I worked on the Conception.
Really?
Vision. Yeah, that's all scuba diving.
Yeah.
I was free diving out there when I was 15 years old in the Channel Islands.
Okay.
So I grew up. I just have these wonderful memories of my father taking the entire family fishing out to the Channel Islands on these sport boats.
Yeah.
And catching all sorts of different exotic species. A lot of biodiversity out there in the waters.
Oh, yeah.
I fell in love with the ocean at an early age. And by the time I was 19, I'd accumulated so much sea time, I was able to apply for a 100-ton master's license. And so by the age of 20, I had my 100-ton license, and I went to work for Tidewater.
Yeah.
Working out on the rigs on the West Coast. And worked for 2 years.
Would you run a crew boat? Were you? Yeah. Okay.
110-foot crew boat.
Right.
Triple screw.
Yeah.
Out there in the Pacific. And, I just happened to have some friends that I'd worked with that went to work in the Gulf of Mexico, working in the oil fields of the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
So I kind of followed their path and went to work for the same company they did in Morgan City, Louisiana.
Yeah.
By the time I was 23 and started running the Atchafalaya River.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And then, when I was 23, I ended up meeting a fellow named Dale, who was a commercial fisherman from Alaska.
Right.
And we met in Cameron, Louisiana, running to a rig off the coast there. And he said, "Man, Eli, if you love fishing, you have got to come up to Alaska." I said, "Okay, well, yeah, I love fishing." He says, "Look, tell you what, I need a crew member for my Bristol Bay operation next summer. Why don't you come on up?" And so I did. I took a leave of absence from that company and went up and fished my first year, 1997 in Alaska.
What, halibut, crab? What were y'all doing?
We were gill netting for sockeye in Bristol Bay.
Wow.
That was the first job. And it's just like, I don't know. So you ever get those bumper boats in like an amusement park?
Yeah.
That's gill netting Bristol Bay. It's
Is everybody running in there?
Man, I was fishing on the West Coast. Like I was working with a man named Robbie Church where we were live fishing and we would catch fish, California sheepshead, and keep them alive on these giant tanks on his boat. And we'd sell them to the markets in Los Angeles. And there's Chinese restaurants that would keep these fish in giant aquariums in their restaurants, and their patrons would come in. "I want that fish right there." I said, "Okay," and then scoop it out. We got $5 a pound in like 1991.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You said it was a California sheepshead?
So the black ones, right?
Well,
with the big red head on it looking thing.
They're all born female.
Yeah.
And then they change through conditions, and they get big, and they get the big knot
on their head,
teeth, and
yeah,
red, white, and black.
They look cool.
Okay.
And the market primarily wanted the little ones, the small females that were, red, pink. Colors.
Probably look better in the tank, maybe, or something.
Those big ones are hard to keep alive. They're just beasts, bruisers, man. These things would get 25 pounds, chewing up sea urchins on the bottom. They're incredible fish, delicious too.
Yeah.
The sheep's head around here are starting to become a little more popular. The bay snapper.
People are figuring them out.
Yeah. People are figuring it out.
All depends on how you cook them.
Yeah.
Well, see, when we were growing up, my grandpa, black drum, sheep's head, all that was crab bait. You know what I'm saying? Throw it back over, put it in the crab trap. That was the only
blue crab trap, right?
Yeah.
So I went up to Alaska the first time and got a job on this Bristol Bay operation. And we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. A lot of stories. Anyway, after that season was ending, a news announcement came across. There's one radio station up there. It's public radio. and all the announcements were made. There's small native villages along that Bristol Bay coast, and people are singing happy birthday to a much belated happy birthday to my cousin, and
Right.
sing happy birthday over the radio. It was entertainment, really. But there was also job opportunities that would come up. Skiff man needed in Prince William Sound for the purse seine season. And I ended up calling on a satellite phone on a net barge where we stored extra nets, and ended up getting the job over the phone.
Wow.
And flew to Prince William Sound and saw salmon seining for the first time.
Oh,
when I was 23.
Okay.
And I just, it's like, a man dying of thirst in the desert and wandering into an oasis.
Yeah. How beautiful is it up there? What does that look like? I've seen pictures, never been.
Well, it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Just because there's just so much wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's no freeways. There's no power lines.
It's untouched.
Yeah.
It's like when you can pick almost anywhere in the wilderness out there and step off a boat and onto the beach, and it's like you're the first person that ever stepped foot there.
Yeah.
And wildlife rules.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah.
Big bears.
Yeah, you're not the top of the food chain there,
No.
for sure.
Not even close.
No, yeah, you got to be very respectful
Yeah.
Right.
of that place because it is hard country.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. Something just hit me, Joey. A mistake that we've made before when we've had the liquor type guests before. We wait 30, 40
All the way
minutes
to the
in the
end.
conversation before we crack the bottle on the first one.
Can we start drinking?
Let's do
Yes.
that.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
because we've made that mistake. It just hit me. I'm like, you remember what you do?
Yes.
We do this every time. Let's pick one of whatever one you say we start with,
Oh no!
and yeah, whichever one you tell us.
You mean money, Mo? Here,
Yeah.
just
Let's
try,
take
try,
this
try
one.
that one.
All
All
right.
right.
So this
Describe
is,
that, and then we'll get back into the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our original rum. Oh, you see the redfish in there? In the back?
Oh yeah.
You see the redfish
Yep.
in the back?
Yep. Turn it a little bit more to the other. There you go. Keep going right there. Look at that. That is cool as shit. I did not notice that until you told us right before we went live. That is a really cool addition to the bottle.
got the Mississippi sticker on it. What's this one right here?
Oh, we've won medals. now.
Denver Intermountain. Oh, it's a gold medal.
Yeah, we've won medals.
Gold medal.
That was this year in 2023.
That's what I'm talking about.
So this is it's a blended rum, or it's a balanced rum, I'd like to call it, aged in new American oak barrels. There's no additives, no flavoring, no sugar.
Okay.
Rum right out of the barrel, and it's not aged very long.
Smells good.
Only
Smells
a year.
good, yeah.
It's a good sipping rum.
That's what I was going to ask. Now, are these rums, I'm guessing they're sipping rums. Do they make a mixing rum? Is there?
Well, that's a sipping rum that mixes well.
Okay. So it's a jack of all trades. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. This one here is that's a mixing rum that also sips.
All right, let's try it out.
But this would be considered a dark rum, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the color comes from the barrel, the extraction.
That's good. That is good. Like I said, I'm not a big rum drinker, but I like that. Now, can you break us down for we're the trashy bourbon guys,
Yes.
and the beer guys. Break it down for us on the rum. There's clear, obviously, right? There's the darkers. Is there multiple darks, or how does that work?
Rum is rum right when it comes out of the still.
Okay.
And then there's all sorts of different iterations of it. It can be you can put burnt caramel in it. You can put vanilla. You can put almond extract. You can do Sailor Jerry, spiced. You name it.
Yeah,
There's
Spice rum. That's probably what most people would, I would think, right? The average guy would be used to.
Captain Morgan.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a
right.
spiced rum.
Captain
Morgan.
Yeah, there's Bacardi, which is more like a vodka
Right.
than a rum. So
Really?
yeah, really.
Okay.
The rum to me it's by definition the TTB is made from the sugarcane plant. So a rum is derived off of cane sugar, molasses, cane syrup, cane juice, and that's it. That's the designation.
We got a good question right out of the gate. We had a couple comments coming in too. I've been kind of flashing them across the screen. Where is that right here? Dan wants to know, where's it sold? That's a good thing to throw out early. Where can they buy it if they want to try what we're sipping on here this evening?
Well, you can go on to our website, circlehookedistilling.com, and we have a where to find.
Okay.
And you can just enter in your address, and it'll take you to the closest liquor store.
Joe, you keep rolling. I'm gonna pull that up and drop it in
Yeah.
the comments so they don't even have to look it up.
We got off the fishing story, right? You got over the salmon country. Loved it, right?
I fell in love with that place immediately. Imagine being 23 years old and like just wandering into paradise.
Right.
And I wanted to stay. I was in a little town called Cordova,
Right.
Alaska, which is in Prince William Sound. And I had opportunity to stay. But I took a look around. It was pretty hard country. And I decided that I needed some money
Yeah.
to really cement myself up there.
Right.
So, I went back down to Seattle, had an apartment there at the time, and got to work. Went back to work in the oil field and started saving money.
Right.
And upgraded my license from 100 ton to 500 ton. Went to work for Edison Schwest, which was love that company, by the way.
Yeah. I've heard
people.
that name,
Oh, man.
Swesh. Yeah.
Great company. They took me up through the ranks on their workboats, and I ended up renting an apartment in this place called Sitka, Alaska, which was probably the most beautiful place that I'd seen in Alaska. Sitka. It's just right on the Pacific on an island, small island community, 14 miles of paved road, and rented an apartment sight unseen, shipped all my stuff up from California, and it arrived at a buddy in town, Dale, that I met in Cameron. He moved all the stuff into my apartment for me. I didn't see that apartment for 3 months.
Wow.
I was renting it for 3 months before I saw it.
You just went on adventures when you were younger, just on the whim, huh?
What's life is about, but
That's
for
what I'm
living.
thinking.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You just took it on a chance and just jumped.
No, why not, man? You only got one shot, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
go
well,
for it.
and the country he was in, I could say country, it was Alaska, but like the place you were working is beautiful. I've seen, my dad worked in Alaska for a long time.
Yeah.
Seen lots of pictures, looked at a lot of different things, never been there, but I can only imagine, like you say, it's like you're not the top predator out there. You're the visitor, more or less, like in this beautiful mountains and snow and bays and all that kind of stuff. So probably a little addicted to it, I would assume, at that point, right? To say the least.
It was a great place to spend your mid-20s and onward. It was
Right.
a great place. There's nothing quite like jumping in a Boston Whaler with your rifle and a buddy, and off you go.
Yeah.
See, that's what my problem would be. I would never want to work. I would just like go fishing and hunting.
Well, those
every day.
guys, like what he was doing, you're making money that way, right? You're making money off the land. I mean, that's
So that takes me to commercial fishing.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got an opportunity to buy into a commercial fishing operation when I was 27, and I'd been working in the oil fields. I had money saved up, and I jumped on it. And Edison Schwest, being started by commercial shrimping family, right? They converted their shrimping boats into utility boats, taking
Right.
supplies out to the rigs, and that's how they got started. And I explained to him what I was doing and asked for a leave of absence and stayed on Cobra, so I didn't cost him anything to lose me.
Right.
And then I'd go up and work the fishing season during the summer times and come back and just work these insane shifts, 2 months at a time, trying to make up for time. It was, so anyway, the fishing season, it was one adventure, just trying to figure it out. It takes about 5 years. There's a learning curve of about 5 years.
Was it kind of like you see on TV? I guess it's not like the snow crab season and stuff like that. Like you could make $50,000 to $100,000 in 2 months, 3 months.
More than that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, more than that. You're chasing a paycheck.
Right.
You got to go out, and it's not just going to jump in the boat.
Right.
You got to go catch it. And I was working with a net. Purse seining is different. Your net's about a quarter mile long. It's about 5,000, 6,000 pounds, 100 feet deep. You have a power skiff on one side and the purse seiner on the other, and you encircle schools of salmon.
Right.
And it's very conservation minded. They won't even open areas until those particular river systems already have their escapement, meaning fish spawning up them.
Right.
So, and then once there's the proper amount of escapement in these rivers, then they'll open it up to us to come and harvest the excess. And you fill your boat, you go and offload, go out the next day, fill it up again, go and offload, and you're anchoring up in remote bays, trying to get a couple hours sleep before the next day.
Yeah, that's hard work.
Did it ever start getting to where it was work and not fishing for you?
That's a good question. It depends on the day.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Some,
That's a good answer.
some days are just magical, and other days are hell.
Yeah.
Just depends on if everything's working right, if your crew's behaving, if the weather's behaving. Weather can be ferocious up there.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my God. So I did that for quite a while.
Yeah.
I've done that I still own the fishing. I fished this year. I went up in purse seine this year. Still have the operation.
Okay.
Sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get from there to? Was it directly to here, or was there pit stops in between?
I quit working for Edison Schwest and went to work for Chevron Shipping.
Okay.
And I went to work on board their coastal tankers. And that was a little bit better of a gig because it was only 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'd work a 3-month hitch, and then it gave me more time for commercial fishing.
Yeah.
And so I started participating in more fisheries and spending more time doing that. And, having this job with Chevron kind of kept income coming in to support my fishing habit.
Right.
And it was around that time that I ended up, I'd known my wife for quite a while. We were introduced by my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up just finally getting together.
Yeah.
I was going from San Pedro to Richmond, Long Wharf in San Francisco Bay, and she was working in a biopharmaceutical company called Genentech.
Mm-hmm.
And this was 2005. This all happened. We ended up getting married in 2006 down here in Gulfport.
She finally wrangled you in, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's,
Yeah.
she's the smartest woman I've ever met.
Right.
There you go.
Most of them are a lot smarter than us.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we got married in 06 after Hurricane Katrina. Her mom's house was in Bayou View, got 6 feet of water in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of a mad rush to get it all refurbished before the wedding took place.
Right.
Wedding took place, and much to her mom's chagrin, she moved to Alaska.
Oh, no.
You did it.
God, I took her up there.
You took away her baby.
Yeah.
Well, she was sure to visit lots.
yeah, exactly. So you working for Chevron Shipping, get married, and then when did you move permanently from Alaska to here? What year would that have been?
2012.
Okay, so it was a while.
Yeah. We raised 2 children. We had 2 children up there, our daughters. And,
okay. Alaska natives, they were born there?
Born in Sitka, Alaska.
Good for them, huh?
And we went through this terrible winter up there. One time we had these babies, and there's a big landslide, and it took out the power poles, and it was cold. There was a foot of snow on the ground, and I was a little handheld generator keeping one room warm, with these babies, and you had to walk up and down the driveway. And she looked at me and she's like, as soon as this place thaws out, we're going down south.
Yeah, we're going.
So we come down and we'd visit her mom in Gulfport here, and right around this time of year, citrus is ripe.
Oh yeah,
70 degrees. Walking around shorts and a t-shirt, or you can go up there where it's like blistering cold, raining sideways.
Yeah. So
we made a quick decision. Huh?
Yeah, that was it.
And we started looking. We started looking for property. So,
yeah.
That was, I don't know, 2010 or so. Around 2012 is when we located a piece of property and decided to move.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were you doing then once you moved permanent? Stayed with Chevron and just transitioned down here? Or how'd that work?
As soon as I got married, I quit working for Chevron.
Okay.
I just focused on fishing.
Okay.
We were long lining at the time. We got another boat, kind of upgraded our boat, got a different one, and started buying quota different permits for different fisheries.
Okay. Did you just transition that down here in the Gulf? No,
I'd go up there and spend 6 months out of the year.
Okay. So you were
still, what were you all long lining up there? Swordfish?
Halibut,
cod. Okay.
Halibut and black cod. Yeah, I've run millions of hooks.
Delicious. At least halibut is. I've never had cod.
Black cod, sablefish. It's really a very delicious fish.
Yeah.
It's deep water. Usually start catching them about 200 fathoms.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they start showing up, all the way out to 1,000 fathoms, really.
So kind of like in the Golden Tile down here area.
Chilean sea bass. You ever heard of that? It's very similar.
Yeah, I got you.
So I kind of got sick of being gone from the family for that 6-month time period.
Yep.
I was up there in a big empty house all by myself while Amy and the girls were down here.
Yeah.
I got absolutely sick of being up there. And, how many years did I have to fish? How much did I have to do this? So that's kind of what made the decision to start something new.
Yeah.
And so we started selling our quota first. We started selling our longline quota. And one of the reasons we called it Circle Hook Distilling was to memorialize that 15 years I spent longlining up there.
Now, did you know anything about the distilling process, rum, any of that stuff before you got down here and started this?
Yeah. And where did your love for rum come from? Any part of that story?
Besides drinking a lot of it, I guess.
Speaking of that, I'm going to refill this.
Yeah.
Here.
Tell me where
Let's try another one.
Why don't you try?
All right.
That's a rum that's agricole style rum, and it's made from cane juice sugarcane grown right here in Mississippi.
Okay. All
It's a
right.
Mississippi specific product.
So tell us about the where did the rum come into this story for you?
Remember that story about live fishing with Robbie Church out in San Nicolas Island on the West Coast, Island of the Blue Dolphin?
That's it.
So to particularly target this specific species of sheepshead, California sheepshead, we'd dive. We'd have dive gear on board, and we'd strap dives. We'd get a wetsuit on, put a scuba tank on our back, and BC in our mouth, and just jump over the side in the kelp beds and swim along until we find a big concentration of them. Come up to the surface. Robbie would back the boat down. He'd throw the anchor, back the boat down, hand me a stern anchor, and I'd swim down with it, hook it around a boulder, come back up, hand him the line, and he'd tie it off, and I'd hop back up on the boat, and we'd catch them rod and reel one at a time.
Really?
Put them into the tanks. And at the end of the day, okay, imagine 4 or 5 dives a day, fishing all day, taking care of all the fish. Sunset would come. We'd go anchor up. And Robbie loved his rum. He absolutely loved it. Myers rum in particular. Always had a bottle.
I think that's what a friend of mine drinks.
Myers
rum. Yeah. So Robbie would take this, big glass, big old plastic cup like this, and he'd go to the fish hold and scoop fishy ice out of the fish hold.
Oh,
and
shit.
He'd take this bottle of Myers and fill it halfway up in this cup, and then he'd take orange juice and put it in there, and just take his big thick finger and stir it up like that. And
rum and orange juice?
He'd hand it to me, and he'd say, Good job today, Eli. You did good.
You did good, son.
And
you did good.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
I'm good though. I'm not today.
Yeah, I'm not real thirsty.
Yeah.
And at that time you're so tired you didn't care.
You didn't give a shit.
Right? You're
I've been
sore.
there. You eat stuff out of the box and the fish has been. You don't care. Give a shit.
The more sips you took, the less you cared.
Yeah.
And so it was.
Might have even made it taste better. Who knows? Nobody. I mean,
I'm sure it probably had some.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a limited edition fish juice flavor.
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna let y'all have that.
I'm spitballing.
That'd be a small market.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I got my first exposure to rum, and I always enjoyed it afterwards. And so making the transition from Alaska to down here, I wanted to be productive. I wanted to work. I wanted to do something, and so this is what I came up with in my mind. Sugarcane country down here.
Yeah.
It's
delicious.
It's a commodity. It grows everywhere. You can take a stalk of sugarcane and throw it on the ground and it's just going to grow.
Right.
As long as it doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a natural evolution. Growing up in California, I spent a lot of time around wineries. We had family friends that owned wineries. I just had exposure to them. I remembered how generous the industry was, how delicious the winery smells during fermentation time or during harvest season, and how everything took on a season. There was time and I wanted to recreate that down here.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Hell yeah.
I spent years researching it. Years. I won't just go cold cocked off on a business.
Right.
I spent years studying fermentation and distillation.
Before you ever started doing anything like even at home?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't legally distill at home.
True.
Unless you have a distiller's permit.
Yeah.
But let's just say
right.
thoroughly did my research.
Right. There you go.
We had a couple of samples. Yeah.
Well, this one's really good too.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this one. Kind of like, I guess a little bit more than the last one.
Yeah.
Is it a lighter flavor? I don't know. I'm not a
It's kind of sweeter on the back end.
sommelier here of the rum, but
so the agricole style is usually marked by grassy, earthy tones, and the cane juice carries over with the spirit into what you're drinking. This one's aged a little longer, but it's that grassiness and the earthiness is
you can taste
back end instead of the forefront. It's a really special sipping rum. It's nice and balanced for down. I know this is bourbon country. Everyone loves their bourbons down here. Bourbon gets a lot of its flavor from new American oak barrels. That's why we age in new American oak, not used barrels.
Right.
Is that unique to rum that you do that, or do like for bourbon it has to be
correct
new?
Yeah.
Do other rums use new oak or okay? So, but you're saying you do it consistently every time, always.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm playing with some used barrels.
Yeah.
I have one of Matt Crittenden's barrels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got one of his bourbon barrels, and it's I'm just letting it age.
We got one of his bottles, but he did a special edition brown water.
Yeah.
They got the label smacked on it.
You know, Matt's just incredible, and the bourbon that he makes is phenomenal.
It is.
Yeah,
it really
It's
is.
so good.
It really is. And we were glad to have him on the show. It's been a year or so, 2 years.
It's been
now.
a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We need to get him back. But I'm glad we're 2 for 2 on the local guys.
Yeah.
His shit was good, and so is yours. And like I said, I'm not a rum drinker, but I like it. I really
it's
do.
not bad.
Let's we've had we talked before we went live, Jonathan Maizano on before.
Yeah.
He broke down the bourbon process for us, and you really kind of touched on it already, but can you break it down from plant out of the ground to what it takes to get what's in this glass right here?
For the agricole?
Just rum in general,
Just
and
the
then
basic,
and then maybe we can jump into the specifics of each one.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Because
sure.
I'm assuming most people that's listening,
Have no clue.
well, I
'Cause
don't,
I don't.
Like you said, it's bourbon country down here. So not that people don't drink rum, but maybe don't know the whole process.
Right.
So, bourbon is grain based, right?
Uh-huh.
Corn, primarily corn, 51% corn. And you get rye and barley and all whatever sorts of grains the distiller wants to use. Really, but if you took beer and put it in a still and distilled it, you get a whiskey. All right. Rum is not much different, except we use water, molasses, some sugar. You can use cane syrup, but in particular, what I use cane syrup and molasses to blend it, make it a balanced rum.
Mm-hmm.
Too much molasses gets this really heavy fork taste. It's just tastes thick.
Right.
A lot of flavor to it with molasses. Cane syrup is a really lighter tasting rum spirit.
Okay.
It's not as meaty, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my process, I start with well water, good from a nice deep well in Harrison County, and it has a high mineral content, and I pasteurize everything. I take our rum, I take the water, I take the molasses or cane syrup, heat it all up to 190 degrees. Just to kill
That kills everything.
kills all the bacteria or
Right.
wild yeast or whatever's around, just to give the yeast a chance to really impart its character into the spirit. What we're really doing is making a wine, So you make a wine, and after that, you know about winemaking.
A little bit. Grapes.
It's made from grapes.
A little bit, just
Little bit of
grapes.
grapes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
grapes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Wine, they have a lot of different processes to make wine taste good.
Okay.
Adding things, you name it. There's all sorts of that. I don't do those.
Right.
I just shoot to make a good wine, and I study winemaking process in order to make that fermentation as absolutely best I can. Each one is unique,
Right.
and each one's going to make a good spirit. You can't make chicken soup from chicken shit.
Right.
Right. You want a good wine to start with. So that's what I really focus on. Pasteurization, crash cooling, additions of yeast. Even the way I treat my yeast is special. I make a yeast bomb, rehydrate it correctly instead of just throwing dry yeast up on it. And then give it its time to ferment. Normally, I do cool my fermentations because yeast has a very specific range of temperature that it likes to operate in. And there's usually manufacturers' guidelines for whoever's producing the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it's done, it's run its fermentation cycle, I let it rest. If it gets over 10% alcohol by volume, it has antimicrobial qualities to it, so you don't have to worry about bacterial infection.
Because that kills it.
Yeah.
Right. Good wines are just allowed to rest.
Yeah. You can use it as medicine.
Yeah, that's
Clean a wound with it. Yeah.
Look, it's been so for thousands of years
Correct.
with us, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
after it's had time to rest, a process takes place called esterification, and that's when you're building your ester chains and you're letting the wine develop flavors, and then I move it to the still. And during the distillation process is probably the easiest part. You're cooking it.
Right.
It's like my still is a 300-gallon all copper pot still, and there's copper through every part of the process. It's a catalytic conversion that takes place in any sulfites that are produced during fermentation. The sulfites, interesting, yeast actually will talk to each other. Once they deplete half of the sugar in the wash, they release a small amount of sulfur. It's like a biochemical signal for them to stop growing and developing and expanding to meet their environment. It's like they talk to each other and say, stop. It's time to start making these higher alcohol flavors
Wow.
or these different higher esters. So there's, fruity smells. You ever smell wine and it smells like, oh, I smell apricots or pears or plums or something like that. That's from the yeast. The yeast uses those higher esters to attract insects.
Well, this process is probably throughout all beer, wine, whiskey. All of it's pretty much the same to this point, right?
From what I understand, beer makers don't like the higher alcohols because they don't shoot for those. They have they go for other flavors.
But if you were doing bourbon or you're doing wine or you're doing
heck
beer,
yes, you want those.
Yeah,
it's going to make a nice, rich, full flavored bourbon.
So it's all the same stuff.
So is that your copper that you mentioned earlier? I pulled that from your Facebook page.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's funny. You see the onion head on the top right there.
Yeah. Let me.
So that right there, that's about reflux. Okay, so the copper cools the vapor, the alcohol vapor that's coming off the wash. Ethanol starts to boil at 175 degrees. Water boils at 212. So when you look in there and it's boiling,
it's not water.
That's not water.
Right.
So you're burping it pretty much.
Yeah, you're boiling all the alcohol out of it.
Yeah.
And it turns into a vapor. It goes up and it collects on the sides and it goes up the line arm. And when it collects on the sides, it drips back down into the still and boils again. And what that does is boost the ABV.
Yeah.
It makes it a stronger spirit.
So, I mean, those things are absolutely like we worked at the brew pub at the Beau Rivage. Big stills that they had in there were to see them, they're beautiful. And you always see the ones that are like moonshiners in the woods somewhere, you know what I'm saying, where they're putting them together.
I hear banjos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see, kids, science is cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Right? It's all science.
Yeah. And when you get old enough, you can drink it.
Yeah, there you go. So I like the process, and the what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, the distinguishing factor is the sugar cane. That's instead of corn, right? It's the sugar cane, which I guess we can get into. That's probably why rum is more popular or came from the tropical Caribbean regions, if I remember reading about rum a little bit, if that's correct.
A lot of sugar cane.
Right, because that's where it grows down there, right?
Yeah, a lot of sugar cane. So in colonial times, rum was the preferred spirit, before the Revolutionary War. Rum, in Boston area alone, there was over 30 distilleries before the Revolutionary War.
Really?
It was all molasses, coming from the islands. So Americans like their drink.
Oh, yeah.
And rum.
Always have.
Rum was it. And I wanted to get back to a pure tasting rum, something that I felt like my ancestors would be drinking.
Yeah. And what did you call it? What do you call it? A colonial? You said something at the beginning of the show. We said something. You corrected us.
Colonial style rum. I haven't named it that. This is original. This is agricole.
Yeah. But that's what you base it off of, the old school.
Yeah. It's funny. There's not much literature at all written about old distillation techniques. Part of my study was German schnapps making.
Oh, wow.
A lot of old study, a lot of old literature about making schnapps.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Okay.
Making schnapps. Schnapps is fruit wine. They're making wine out of whatever windfall harvest they have. Imagine having a bunch of fruit on the tree that you can't preserve or you can't save it all, right?
So it's just going to rot.
Yeah. Turn into a wine. Yeah. And then distillation is nothing but a preservation technique for that wine. So imagine having a wine. It's good for 6-7 months. Starts to turn. Before it starts to turn, you throw it in the still and you collect all the alcohol off of it.
Oh,
Win-win.
It's just, you just like filtering it out, right? Yeah.
I can't necessarily let my wine sit for 6 months though.
Yeah.
I have to have some sort of process.
So we showed the copper still up there. Once it goes past that process and you've let the alcohol boil off, right? It then goes into what?
So stainless steel totes for the silver.
Okay.
Just because it has to age, it's sharp when it comes out of the still. It's a young spirit. It needs to age. And if you just let it sit, an esterification process takes place while it's sitting in the stainless totes.
Okay.
And it rounds out with its flavors. It doesn't taste quite so sharp. It smooths out.
Yeah.
These ones go in the barrel.
Okay.
And they just go in a 30-gallon white oak.
Right.
Number 3 char oak barrel sourced from Minnesota of all places.
Really?
I experimented with a bunch of different barrels from all over the country. Minnesota, I chose that northern region because the oak just has such a special flavor. It's not really high in tannic acids from those northern oak forests. So it's not quite so bitter. And you get like a much smoother vanilla flavor. You get all these different notes that come out of the wood. And I view the wood as almost like you ever take a dry sponge and put it on the countertop to get a little water off?
Yep.
And it just soaks all that water up. Wood does the same thing, but it does so with hot and cold.
Right.
So when it gets cold, it squeezes the spirit out. When it gets warm, it sucks it back up. And you go through that process a few times, and the wood's breathing that spirit in and out of its cellulose and all the different channels inside that wood, and it produces the color.
Yeah.
And you get some really amazing flavors off some of those barrels.
We hear even like in those big, what is it where they store them? The warehouses that can like
Rick house.
Yeah, like for bourbon, they will move them around because the heat rises in the facility, right? And so, sometimes they just leave them. Sometimes they move them all around.
Most of the expensive companies, they get to pick. I want the top left.
Yeah,
because that's where the heat goes.
I'm going to take mine and throw it on a boat and sail it around the world.
Yeah, you have that.
Yeah,
Jefferson.
you do Jefferson. Yeah.
Jefferson. Yeah, which wasn't my favorite though. Wasn't my favorite. But anyway, so the two that I've had so far, I really liked, and I think that's a cool process. So you did your homework, you did your research efficiently, thoroughly, and how do you then pull the trigger on the business and the location to go commercial?
So location, right? I'm gonna be off alone. It's a slow burn. Distilling isn't this fast-paced mechanical operation. It's really slow. It takes time.
Yeah.
Regulatory process, I think, is what you want to hear.
Right.
Regulatory.
What's the red tape? What's the hoops? How we have to jump?
I had a buddy.
Is there any more ice in that bucket?
Yeah.
I had a buddy. He's like, well, congratulations. You're now able to participate in one of the most heavily regulated industries in the country.
Yeah,
like,
way to go.
Well, man, he doesn't know commercial fishing.
Yeah. Second, huh?
Yeah. So the regulatory process, basically the state wants you to get a federal permit before you can apply for a state permit.
That's because they're like, look, if you can get through the feds, you probably be able to fill out paperwork.
You're good.
Let them do the heavy lifting, and then we'll tell you after that.
The federal process, you have to build a building first. You have to have a building, and you have to have equipment first. You have to have
that's the federal government. Could you spend the money first?
Yeah.
And then we'll let you know whether or not.
Here's the card.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the horse.
Yeah, we'll give you the
Do
horse
this.
afterwards. Yeah. That's exactly how it went.
Yeah.
So the federal process wasn't all that bad. I remember getting approved right before lockdown.
Oh,
COVID.
great.
Right before.
That was a blessing.
Oh, man. I had a great time during lockdown.
Yeah. You just work. You're like a mad scientist, right?
Building, putting steam systems together, hooking everything up, having a good time. I remember the review officer from the TTB, when it got approved, sent me an email. And all she said, "You've been approved. Good luck."
Nice. Yeah.
Just a pat on the back.
Hey, this dog's ready to hunt, baby.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
The state process wasn't too bad. The state, it's not a big industry in the state.
No.
There's not a lot of us here in this. There's only 4 distillers right now that I know of.
Yeah. Legal.
Legal.
Now the kiln's probably got,
half
600, 700. I mean, who knows? Nobody can count really. But
they all put
legal.
They put it in milk jugs.
Yeah.
You know what? The enforcement leaves me alone then.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. They got other people to track down. But yeah, so I think we mentioned that earlier too. Like 4 in the state, and you're the only rum guy. Yeah.
When I first started, there was a man. His name was Jean-Luc Charbonneau, and he had a rum distillery out of Natchez.
Okay.
And we went and visited him. I went and looked at his operation before we pulled the trigger on this, and saw what he was doing. He closed down shop. Matt told me that he's going to open back up in New Orleans. Not sure if he has or not.
Okay.
And so there has been another rum distiller in the state, but for right now, I'm the only one.
Okay.
I'm going to take this. You call this a silver, right?
Yeah.
And this has got a cool. Talk us through the artwork in these bottles.
Well,
that is cool, right there.
So part of our shtick is celebrating the passion and vibrancy of the Gulf Coast and its people.
Homage.
Yeah. There we go. Homage.
Yeah.
That's a fancy word.
That's my fancy word for the day.
Yeah.
So
homage to the coast.
We love it down here. It's beautiful. There's really cool folks. And they have some amazing artists as well. So we wanted to include local artists in our bottle. The silver is really kind of the one you can see. It's up front. That's Elizabeth Huffmaster is the one that did that blue crab.
Yeah.
You can see her name right there too.
Yeah, Sissy Sissy
Quinn
Quinn
McCabe.
Yeah, she did the white egret, and it allows us to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
In planning another label,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I want an alligator with Mardi Gras beads on it. Like,
there you go.
you guys want to put a little Coke in there? You want to try it with something? You want to try it straight?
I want to try
it straight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to embrace the
I like
taste.
this.
Yeah, it's a mixer that sips well.
Now this one smells aggressive.
So that spirit is this one before it goes in the barrels.
It's different. That's different. Let me try that again.
I wanted a full-bodied, full-flavored rum. I wanted something you could sip and just taste all the way down.
It's good. It really is. What is your personal favorite of the three of these, flavor-wise?
Depends on the day.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I think this is gonna be my vote right here.
The green one?
Yeah.
I think I'm between the green and the dark one.
I think this is my favorite.
But they're all really, really good. I was worried I wasn't going to like them, but I do.
Now
and
let me try it mixed, because that's what I think this is going to be more. You have a Coke or a Splash or something like that?
The white one that might go
yeah.
better with the. What is a typical?
Yeah, what's
mixer?
a Splash?
No, what's a typical mixer for rum? You'd say most people.
Rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke. Okay.
Let me try
There's a drink called the Cuba Libre, which is rum and Coke and a squeeze of lime juice.
Okay.
And that's always pretty good. You really get the grassy flavors on it.
Mm-hmm.
See, now that's not bad. I could drink that.
The Coke does kind of spice it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it feels like a tropically, like by the pool.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get like, I'll drink so much bourbon, I just get tired of drinking bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And you try to get too much beer.
Yeah.
Because you can't drink bourbon when you're going to the island because it's too hot. You get tired of beer, so you need a substitute. So this is.
You can.
But you can.
You can.
But this would be a great substitute running to Horn Island.
Yeah.
Just put it in a little cup, splash it with some pineapple or whatever.
Those islands are so pretty out there.
Ain't they though? Ain't they though?
And the sand is just gorgeous. You get to the other side where the water starts clearing out.
I know.
You stare out at that open ocean and you just put your beach chair out. And,
you asked us before we went live if brown water, we mentioned on the show a bunch, but is it like kind of an homage to bourbon, but it is also to the color of the water inside of the barrier islands, which we embrace and love and are happy to have. But you're right. As soon as you hit south of Horn or Ship, even Deer Island, it changes up pretty good, but it clears up out there and it's beautiful.
Part of that brown water, what I think about is after your first good rain in the fall, after the leaves have come down and all those tannic acids are washing out of them and making that brown water that goes down the little creeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which, and a lot of mud too down here. Cause I pass over Chutica Bluff every day drive my bus route. Dude, it was crystal. I wouldn't say crystal clear, but it was clear. We got that rain. Now it looks like a dang chocolate milkshake coming down. Yeah.
Yeah. So we left off, I think, in the story before we started pouring. Mad scientist, middle of lockdown, got your
shop
your permit. Yeah. Where did you build? Like, where are you right now?
We're in Harrison County.
Okay.
We're on our family farm.
Okay.
Yeah. We have property there.
Okay.
And it's, we built the building on our farm.
Okay.
And, it's great because my commute's 400 yards. I can walk down there
in the golf cart.
I try to walk these days.
It goes back to the beginning of the New Year's resolution stuff.
I'm not getting any younger.
Right.
So,
none of us are, unfortunately.
I try to keep busy, keep walking.
Yeah. What's the so that process, like you said, that's kind of cool. I didn't put that together till you said it, but like I've been in the commercial fishing business. Like, yeah, I knew red tape, so it wasn't too bad for you. You got the approval. And then how does like that first batch, is that like, a baby being born? Has it?
Man, we threw a party.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Neighbors got involved.
Oh yeah.
We were in lockdown, right?
Right.
So we
you were the most popular person.
Yeah.
We had so much fun
in your whole little area. I'm sure.
We had crawfish boil. We were down there. We're drinking. And here's some funny. It was, I don't know. It was a learning curve, right? It takes a while. It takes a while to get to know how to make a good spirit, how to make your cuts in a fractional distillation, make heads or tails out of this whole thing.
Uh-huh.
So I do everything by temperature. Temperature is where you remove all your unwanted products from the fermentation.
Okay. That's the boil off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, as it's boiling, the first thing to come out of the still is your bad unwanted products that have a lighter or a lower boiling point than the ethanol. So anything that comes out before 175 degrees gets discarded. And then your hearts start to come out, and you can smell it. You can, you take your finger and just get a little bit on it and just touch your tongue with it. You can't take a shot of it. That Moonshiner show where they're, where, I was telling a buddy about that. He's like, I was watching that Moonshiner show and they sure as hell ain't touching their finger in it. They're sucking down the whole cup. I'm like, well, no,
you would die.
Yeah. That's 150 proof. Like, you don't want to drink that stuff. It's bad for you.
Burn the esophagus.
And I sure don't want it in my product.
No.
So it gets discarded. And, we keep the hearts. And the tails aren't bad. They just don't add anything to the product, right? They detract from it. Unpleasant smells, unpleasant flavors. I don't keep the tails either. There's some distilleries out there that retain the tails because there's still good ethanol in there. And then they run those tails through the still once they have a big enough charge and recover some more product. I don't do that. I'm not big enough yet.
Right.
I'm still really small.
Yeah.
It's really tiny distillery.
So they're just trying to squeeze the pennies out of it.
Right.
They win awards for it. If you just let it sit, there's an esterification process that takes place, and you can recover some good ethanol out of it. But I haven't tried that yet. Part of our good manufacturing process is I will take every batch that we produce and send it to a testing laboratory out west in San Diego called White Labs, and have it broken down into a gas spectral analysis.
Right.
And so I know exactly what's in our product before we release it. And
cool.
I keep that as part of good manufacturing.
So
I know that what we're putting out in the public is safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
We'll CYA.
Yeah. So it looks like most of these are around 40 proof, right? I mean, 40% alcohol.
80 proof.
Yeah.
80 proof.
To be called a rum, it has to be above 40% ABV.
Okay.
How high can it go in rum? As high as you want?
Well, if it goes above 190 proof, it's considered a vodka at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you could still call it rum. I mean, I think that's where Bacardi comes from.
Yeah. So around 80 proof is where that's where the magic happens?
Yeah. Each batch, I'll dump the batches out of the barrels, and usually about 120, 125 proof coming out of the barrel, somewhere in there. And then I'll start adding water to it slowly.
This one's growing on me a lot.
The silver?
Yeah. Because of with the Coke splash. I didn't put a lot.
Just enough to change the color.
Right.
Every batch is going to taste a little bit different. So I shoot from anywhere in between 82 and 85 proof. All I'm doing is diluting the flavor, really, when you add water to it. And I like a good full flavored rum. I want taste. I want flavor.
Yeah.
This is the South.
Right. Yeah, we take everything to 11.
Yeah.
Barbecue shrimp.
So flavor profile.
We eat.
Yeah. We want some flavor down here.
We don't want none of that northern.
If it don't mess my blood pressure up, what's the problem? Why am I eating?
Yeah, eat dangerously.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What is it? What's the timeline from the beginning of this process to
this?
That? Yeah, I was going to say because some of them go into the stainless steel, and then so I would assume that one is quicker than the oak barrel one.
Shortest timeline's about 4 months.
Okay.
Longest timeline so far, 2 years.
Yeah, that one's got 2 years. This has got 11 months. I don't know what's that one. I don't know.
So the darker one's not the longest one?
No.
Okay.
No, surprisingly.
This one is.
Yeah, you didn't.
Well, that one's kind of dark though, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, yeah, that one's 2 years on that one.
So that's a decent turnaround, compared to like bourbon.
Bourbon, you got to wait 2 years just to call it a bourbon.
Correct.
And bourbons, they really start tasting really good around 5-6 years.
Yeah. So you got a lot of money tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's such amazing bourbons out there. I have a deep affinity for bourbon.
So you drink it too?
Oh God, yes. I like Matt's bourbon.
It is. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's what I say, 2 for 2 on the show, because same thing when he sat down, I was like, man, and I am a bourbon drinker.
Connoisseur.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Connoisseur.
And especially not back then. We were kind of just, starting to roll with that, with not drinking, just like Jack Daniels, which I still love, by the way. I do. But when we poured it, I was like, man, if this is terrible, do I lie
Just spit it all
and
over
agree,
the place?
or like
Maybe I could wash my guns with it.
or just like I'm glad sip it. It's like, oh, I'm glad you're making it, and it was good. And it was like bottled and bond, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, that's 100 proof stuff.
Yeah, but and he does the whole thing there.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be honest, like his whiskey is good, but that moonshine he's got, oh my god,
yeah.
I can't get down with
the
that.
shine. But I don't. I'm not a fan of any of those.
Yeah.
So that's not specific to him. But it was great. And this is
all of these are good. And I'm gonna rate mine green. I'm gonna go this way. So I'm gonna go green, orange.
So
pomegranate,
and then pomegranate,
the cranberry flavor.
Yeah.
So,
but I like the pomegranate better. The bottle better though. The crab is cool.
The artwork's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is. Whose idea was that?
I got to give credit to my wife.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes, she is.
I knew you were going to say that. So she was like, "Hey, look, how did that conversation go?"
Initially, we went together to New Orleans, Martin's Wine Cellar, and we just needed ideas for labels. How do we want it to look?
Yeah.
And there was a bottle in Martin's Wine Cellar. There was a lime mezcal and tequila that had back art on it. And I said, baby, look at that. They had some muchacho sitting there smiling on the back label. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I've been looking at this bottle all night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really badass.
Yeah, and even when you drink it, you get done with it and keep it in your house.
So she saw that and said, hey.
I took a bunch of pictures of it, and her and I were both engaged with the artists or the label designers. Mm-hmm. And this is, we gave them, this is what we wanted. We didn't know what we wanted at the time. We wanted... this was the first label to be developed. This one was the Redfish.
The Redfish.
And so the Redfish was done by their artists, and Virginia, but I think they're in Richmond, and they know what a redfish looks like.
Oh yeah.
At some point we may change that back art.
The Richmond,
that's cool.
Richmond north of Richmond.
Richmond north of Richmond. That's it.
Yeah.
That I heard that song for the first time this year. I was fishing at this place called Duke Island, which is very south of, it's south of Ketchikan, about 5 hours by boat. It's right on the Canadian border, the northern British Columbia border, and Alaska. And this big storm was coming. I was trying to get there before it hit to get into this anchorage called Ray's Anchorage, just to ride out the storm because it was going to blow 45 knots. Mm-hmm. And I got there.
A northeastern.
It's all southeast there. Well, you get northerlies, but the southeasterlies are the truly savage ones.
Right.
So I get there, drop the anchor, and then there we are swinging at anchor in 3 fathoms of water watching the wind blow. Mm-hmm. And I came across that song. I was like, you know what? That's so much BS.
You didn't like it?
And I loved it.
Oh, okay.
It struck a chord.
Oh, so you're saying what he's talking about pissed you off? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It hit all of us. Everybody.
God, that was good.
Yeah, it was. It's very good. And I've kind of watched some of his stuff. He seems like he
just got a daggum
true to form
UTV wreck the other day. He flipped his daggum side by side or whatever.
As he should.
If it wasn't dangerous, it wouldn't be fun.
If we were, he's really, I don't know what his wreck. I mean, he's giving money back to these people who are doing these concerts for paying too much. So I don't really know what he's making, but
I think he's trying to do the right thing and not just be the money grab. He's turned down, from what I've read and heard, some record deals. And you're right. He said that his promoter, that's like his manager, signed a contract, but didn't know what the promoter was going to charge. And so when he found that out, he's like, I'm out of this show. I'm not doing it. Get the refunds, and I'm going to do another show in the same town for a way cheaper ticket, which, kudos to him. It's all right. Do right by the people.
Yeah. Life's not all about money.
It's not, but it helps.
Yeah, it does help. It helps. What the coolest thing about this bottle is looking on the bag, and it says Gulfport, Harrison County, Mississippi. That's cool.
Yeah, it's badass.
That's freaking awesome. It's got your crest. I guess that's your family crest on the back.
Yeah, I'm descended from a man named Captain John Underhill. I'm actually named after him, and he was he was an early colonist. I had a friend that did, he did genealogy,
right?
Yeah,
and on my daughter actually, and he's like, hey, she's related to 14 out of the 26 families that were on the Mayflower.
Really?
I'm just old old America.
Old America, yeah.
Old
hell
Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Dan wants to know in the comments here, how much volume can you produce? That's a good question.
Currently, we can make about 2,000 cases a year.
Okay.
That's our current production.
And what is that? How many bottles is in a case? Of?
6.
6. Okay.
What was that?
That's a good.
You asking me math? You're wrong. Yeah, that's a bunch.
That's enough though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And coming from how big is the facility? I saw that pic. Is that a metal building that you're in?
Yeah. 1,200 square feet.
Yeah.
We have a forklift. We've got concrete around the building. We have a storage building on the side where we hold our sugar products, bottles, empty barrels, things like that.
Yeah.
And we can always grow. We can always build another building.
Yeah.
We can always buy new fermenters. It's hard to know what the market's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? You're going to just throw a bunch of money at this great big facility that you make a bunch of product that you can't sell?
And it just sits there.
Yeah. I mean, it'll keep getting better and worth more the longer it sits. But I'm more of a conservative ilk.
Right.
And I like to grow organically.
So rum does get better with age.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The longer it sits, the better it'll get.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking right now on your website. I shared the link to where you can buy in the comments below. And you're all around. I mean, Biloxi, Ocean Springs. I mean, Oxford, Natchez.
This one right here this is batch 1, but this is what, batch 7? What batch are you on? Is this your?
We're just about to dump batch 8.
Okay.
This one, the agricole has a really interesting story. This is truly a labor of love. This one. So, they grow sugarcane up in Poplarville.
Right.
At the MSU Agricultural Extension Service.
Okay.
And they're Mississippi specific varieties. And they grow them for seed cane, for cane syrup. And somehow I got, a pamphlet saying, hey, if you want some seed cane, you can come buy it from us. I'm like, well, I'm going to go experiment with sugar cane and see if I can make a rum agricole out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting like 1,000 stalks. And I bought this commercial juicer. Man, it took me 3 days to juice all that shit.
Is there different strands of sugar cane?
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of different varieties.
In Mississippi?
Sure. Yeah.
Really?
So some are, it's MSU does a really good job of keeping these varieties alive that are Mississippi specific.
See, only thing I knew was the ones, your grandpa would cut you off a piece and say, chew on this and get in the truck. That's the only stuff I knew about sugar cane.
This one doesn't fall over in the wind. This one's a little bit sweeter. This one's more fibrous. This one's better for chewing on. They have all these different varieties. And I just got a mismatch of them. All I cared about is that they were grown right here in Mississippi.
Right. I love that.
And I juiced them. The thing about cane juice, though, is you send it through the juicer. If it sits for 4 or 5 hours, it starts to ferment.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let that happen because that's bacteria and wild yeast that are starting to ferment those sugars. And it creates off flavors and off products in your wine. So I had to get it. I had to start heating it up, pasteurizing it for 3 days. I could do like 50 gallons a day out of the juicer, 5-gallon buckets. Oh, it took forever.
Yeah.
You juice it, didn't have to burn it up to kill all the disease.
That's right. You got to keep it. You got to keep it above a certain temperature.
Right.
So that's what I ended up doing. And what is that? 2 years ago that this went into a barrel. So that's this one. And that was our first batch. That one barrel took me it took 3 days of juicing, another day of building the fermentation.
So you earned that one.
Oh my God. It was a labor of love, but we put it out and it was really well received. It sold out before it even hit the market. It was, I think there's a few places that still have a few bottles. But I do have another barrel of it from last year and I'm just about to go back up and get some more for this year with plans on upsizing that production.
Sweet.
But each batch is handled specifically. It's going to be they're special.
Yeah,
put it that way.
That brings me to my next question is what's been the response so far? When did you put out your first product in stores, and then what was the response? What year?
Distributing about 1.5 years ago.
Okay, so
relatively new.
Yeah, not long at all.
Okay,
we've gotten a really warm reception. From the community here. It's, like I say, passion and vibrancy of the Gulf Coast and its people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's really good folks here.
So you explain how that works. You have to send your stuff to Jackson.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, what a great process.
And then, do they mainly focus on the coast because you're on the coast, or do they just put it where they seem fit?
So the main distribution center is in Jackson,
right?
The ABC, and the retailer, let's just say a retailer has a retail store and he wants to make an order. He goes on the state website, he orders a case of whatever they like from the ABC. They put it together in a truck and ship it down to them.
Okay.
Hopefully in a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the way you get your stuff in stores up north is somebody requests it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, we have a distributor called Mad Vines and Spirits. And when they took us on, I was honored.
Mm-hmm.
I was honored because their portfolio of spirits that they have really impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we got invited to be part of their portfolio, I was really touched.
Is that like you said? It's a distributor, but is he kind of your marketer when it comes to liquor stores requesting your product?
Yeah, he has. Mad Vines and Spirits has representatives all across the state, and in Alabama as well. And so they are responsible for going to the different retail outlets, restaurants, stores, on premise, off premise, those different accounts.
Pushing you, yeah.
And they say, "Hey, have you tried this Mississippi rum? Why don't you try some Circle Hook?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my wife Amy and I, our office manager Juliana, we go to the different stores and we try to engage with the owners and just thank them for carrying our product and be some meat there behind
be a face behind a name. Yeah,
thank you.
Shake your hand.
I really appreciate you carrying us.
Yeah. How far north are y'all? How far?
Oxford.
Oh, sure.
Starkville.
Oh, yeah.
I just was reading it.
They're thirsty up there.
Oh yeah, college town. They're always thirsty up there.
Yeah, yeah. What's in your opinion? What's the overall level of interest of rum in the state? It's
rum's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's because people are conditioned to Sailor Jerry's.
Yeah. I know a guy that drinks Sailor Jerry's.
Does it change when the weather changes?
Oh yeah, you get a lot. Well, they say that the Super Bowl of spirits is this time of year, and everybody's stocking up for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
So with us, we just get continual sales all year.
It seems to me like you would go bourbon when it's cold and rum when it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like boat island time is what I would.
Ice.
You need some more ice?
Yeah. Burning the ice up, dude.
Drinking on my fridge ice.
I know. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
You guys like it.
I told you. I was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna bullshit. It's good.
Yeah,
it's
good.
Very, very good. I want the wives to try it because I feel like that the white. What was the name of the white one?
Silver.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a funny feeling they might be into that.
Makes up a nice fruity drink. We have a drink that we like to call the Rum Runner. It's called a Rum Runner, and that has been like one of our signature cocktails. And we take that to events and we serve it to people. Man, we got some people faded on that stuff.
Well, explain the gold medal. Explain that.
I wanted to see how our product measured up out there in the world,
right?
And so we entered some competitions. And we started winning gold medals. I think we've won 3 golds and 3 silvers so far. Yeah, we're just we stack. We got 9-1 points in Denver this year, and so people like it. Judges like it. It passes the test.
I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be rewarding. Go home with the gold medal.
Look, I'm 49.
You're probably beating your chest when you walk over.
Oh man, I'd put that medal on, and walk around with it.
Yeah,
just the medal, no shirt, just walking around.
I'm 49. I haven't won a gold medal for anything in my life till I started making booze.
Hey, and what a good. It doesn't. Granted, it's like push-up contests are cool. Archery, any kind of gun shooting shit, but distilling any type of spirit, right in that same category.
Smoking or distilling whiskey,
or killing a bear with your hands.
Yeah.
I would put that in that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to tussle with one of the big stinking bastards.
It's good, man. It's really, really good. I'm super impressed with it. I'm gonna go grab some bottles and have it at the house. I love when we have like hangouts and stuff. Being like, hey, were you just from Mississippi? Did you know that? People are like, no, I didn't know that.
We put that sticker on there, Made in Mississippi. Once again,
I like that. That's
Amy
cool.
and Juliana came up and
cover his face over. It won't work. And
just to
there goes. Now get the glare. There you go.
Just to let people know,
it's cool. It really is. It reminds me of the Cajun products, right? A certified Cajun seasoning. Yeah. They put the label all over it, and they're proud of it, and so should we.
That was one of my lessons that I learned early on when I was working down in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
Cajun men cook.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
each one has his own recipe for gumbo, and he makes it and
He'll
taste
fight
it.
you
And he
over
said,
it.
man,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you make a gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that about the culture over there.
Yeah, I can't say enough. You said you were down in New Orleans when you saw the was it wine that had the picture on it? Was that New Orleans? You said
Yeah, Martin's Wine
Yeah, I
Cellar,
mean, it's,
yeah.
I love it down there.
Yeah,
Like you said, the culture,
they eat like each day is their last.
you can't walk anywhere and not run into a restaurant down there. You know,
And they'll run you off just as easy. So if you bring gumbo to the table that's subpar gumbo, it won't come back.
Yeah,
Forget it.
Yeah,
hang it up.
What's the plans moving forward? You said you've put out how many cases now in a year and a half?
Well, I haven't counted. I don't have the sales figures in front of me, but 2023 was our biggest year so far.
Okay,
and hopefully 2024 is better than that.
It's better than that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. These things, they don't happen immediately,
right?
And businesses take a long time to get going.
For sure,
you can't just.
Well, and
I'm going to make $1 million.
Yeah, well, in the alcohol business, like that's just built into it, the amount of time it takes. Like this is a quicker turnaround than like bourbons are. But get the license, build the building, get the license,
red tape,
start distilling, put it out there. Like Joey mentioned, sell the ABC, which to me is a archaic design, but it is what it is. And then all the while waiting for your return. And then I liked how you described the marathon style aspect to your business, right? You're going to take it slow and grow as you can, as the market tells you.
That's right.
So
it'll be easy to put another building in and
rock and roll.
Yeah. Increase our fermenters. The still, it's only busy twice a week, right? That's what we do. Twice a week I ran it today, and twice a week I have a production schedule to keep. I've got enough supplies to get through 2023, 2024 season. Mm-hmm. I'm going to fill X amount of barrels by this time, and I'll meet that production schedule.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how sales go.
Yeah.
And then if we need to increase our output, well, we'll get some more fermenters, build another building, have barrel storage. And anyway, it's one step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Correct. And outside of coming on this podcast, what have y'all been doing to get the name out there, marketing wise, in what way, shapes, or form?
We like to donate to charity.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Charitable events. We like to go to events out there. Was the Beer, Bacon, and Chocolate Festival. That was
that the one to Coliseum or the Shucker Stadium?
It was the place where the haunted house is.
Oh yeah,
49.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Man, what a zoo! That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and we do events. We do tastings. We have social media. So
do y'all offer tours? Do y'all do tours yet?
No, we're closed to the public.
Okay.
Yeah, I
don't show up knocking on your door. Huh?
If somebody calls me, if somebody gets my number and calls me and says, "Hey, look, I really want to check this out,"
right?
Yeah.
Well, then, all right, you can be my guest, and I will put time aside, and you can come and be my guest, and I'll put chairs out. We'll listen to music.
Is that those? What was that picture?
Okay, so that was a class, a continuing education class for 50 and over.
Okay.
At one of the local colleges, and they go about doing these little fact-finding missions, let's call it. And so they came and spent an hour and a half with me, and I just talked about making rum, and of course we drank a little bit.
Got them all sloshed and sent them, got them on their meds and sent them back home.
Yeah, careful when you're driving out of here, y'all.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all get back on that tour bus.
That's cool. That's cool. What I see the hat. What's
you got some merch. You got some merch.
Yeah. Let's flash that.
That's once again, we don't sell those, but we do give them to charitable events.
Cover the face.
Yeah, if somebody wants to,
there it goes.
There it is.
You can find them in our charity boxes. You can bid on them. Those are for you guys, though.
Okay. Thank you.
Did we talk about how you got the name from long lining?
Yeah, I did it to memorialize the 15 years I spent long lining in the North Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And the millions of hooks I've run.
It's super cool design too.
What about T-shirts at all or anything like that? People that can, where can they go to get those? To buy them?
There's only 3 of us right now in this distillery. Right?
Okay.
There's Amy and I and Juliana. That's it. That's all of us. And we would like to open up an online store where we can sell merch. We have people pushing for it, but right now let's
focus on what you got to focus on.
Focus on making a good rum. And we are planning on expanding our line. of bottles, and having other labels to put out. I think one of the things you were asking me was, where are we going from here?
Yeah.
I would really like to make authentic brandies.
Oh, so change up the whole spirit.
Well, I'll keep the rum.
Right. But I'm saying, like, go into another
limited release.
The genre.
True brandies. Persimmons are big down here. You ever have persimmon brandy?
No.
I've never had it.
But I like persimmon.
I don't know if I've ever had a brandy.
I've tried them before, and they're from what I remember, they're good. But that, again, it's like you're kind of like targeting the ones that are not quite, I would say, as in demand or popular, but that's like, there's the arbitrage. I guess you make a good one and
something with locally produced fruit.
Yeah.
Apples, plums, peaches,
Skepanons.
Scuppernong. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. That would be a brandy for sure.
Yeah. And I think when I hear the name in spirit about brandies, it's like the old school movies, like that's they would go drink brandies, right?
Sipping
like
brandy.
The affluent people, right?
Sitting by a fire with a
cigar,
snifter of brandy,
a
cigar.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough money to do that.
You can pretend. It's fun to pretend.
Yeah, that's part.
That's part.
That's why we drink rum.
Yeah,
we're pirates, man. We're pirates of the open sea.
It's sweet, right? Brandy isn't it? Is sweeter?
Well, if they had sugar to it, sure is.
Okay.
A lot of brandies are adulterated these days.
They've been cheating on their wives.
When you get an authentic brandy, it's sweet by character. Ethanol has a sweet character to it. Higher alcohols, the esters that I talk about, there's a sweet flavor to it in a good made spirit. Take bourbon, for example. A well done bourbon, isn't it sort of sweet in your palate?
Yeah,
some are. Yeah,
it's got the notes.
It's kind of like, that's what I'm going to go after with those brandies.
I like your style. I do like that.
Yeah.
He's bringing some stuff back. Like, we're going to make this cool.
Old tech.
Yeah, old tech. Yeah. It worked before. It can work again.
We can rebuild
I'm going to reinvent the wheel here.
No, we don't need to do that. Yeah, exactly. Well, unless there's anything else you want to touch on, man, I think we covered it. We had a lot of engagement tonight on the comments. I always love to see that. I want to thank everybody that was chiming in, Dan, and there was a bunch of people earlier that was mentioning stuff. So I put the links to where you can buy it, and then also your just regular website. He's on Facebook as well. I'll drop that too.
Yeah. Where else are y'all? Your website, Instagram, are y'all on all that?
I think we're just on Facebook right now. There's no laws about social media and advertising alcohol on social media.
Correct.
So what's happened is the distilling industry has made its own guidelines. And so they tend to only go on things like Facebook because it's usually over 21.
I got you.
Right. So we're on Facebook, and that's it for now. We have our website.
It has a 21.
Yeah,
on
when you get
website,
in there, you got to put your birth date in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Killer website too. Right now, that's like a little pirate map that you just pulled up. That's pretty cool.
That was our first attempt at a website.
No, I liked it.
It was cool.
I thought it was cool. Very cool. And the cursor changes when you move it, navigate it around. So kudos to you. So that's very cool, man. Thank you for stopping by this evening. Thank you for bringing the product. Thank you for making it Mississippi made.
We do appreciate it.
Highlighting.
Can we have this bottle?
Oh yeah.
I want the empty one. I want to put it right here and leave it right next to Critidis.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, dude, it was our pleasure. It's great stuff. I'm going to get some for the house.
Absolutely.
And have it available and brag at parties when have people over.
We hung out with you.
Yeah.
Try some of this.
Try some of this stuff.
We know this guy.
Yeah. So
one of the parts about a good spirit is it has an uplifting character to it.
Correct. Right. That's the part of it. That's what makes it so cool, regardless of what the spirit is. It brings people together.
That's what I shoot for.
Yeah,
nailed it.
You nailed it. And the total concept, the name, your backstory in fishing in Alaska, which is even cooler to me.
And then the art on the bottles is killer. Everything's
nailed
killer.
it. So so kudos to you. Hats off to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Anytime you want to come back on here and do this again, you release a new bottle or you get the brandy up and running, we'll get cigars in here and we'll pretend to be fancy.
Turn this into old bar room.
We'll pretend to be fancy.
We can tell high tales.
Yeah, that's right. And I really just thought of that because you said that. I feel we did a disservice to him. We should all have been dressed up as pirates tonight. I really feel like we should have done that. So next time, if it's rum, we're dressing up. I'm going to at least get a hat.
Eye patch.
Yeah. And
if it's brandy, we're coming in here as gangsters.
Right. But no, old Englishmen dressed up
like the wigs,
English
yeah.
aristocrats. Yeah, but for the Pirates, I'm getting a fake parrot too. So
that'll work.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in on the live, the replays, and the audio. We appreciate y'all. Go download the Brownwater Banter app if you haven't done it already. Stay connected to
and pick up some rum.
Pick up some rum for sure, and take some pictures. Tag us Facebook page and tag us in it. Let us know what you thought about it. It's support Mississippi shit. It's cool.
That's right. If it's got a sticker on it, buy it.
It's got the sticker on it. So y'all keep tuning in. We got probably one or two more, Joe, before 2024.
No, we got two. We got Sonny Schilt.
You can do it.
Yeah, Schindler.
There you go.
You got Captain Sonny coming on
he's
here?
coming on there next week.
Man, that guy's like the Bruce Lee of fishing.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
And then we got the remake, the Baheo sunglasses.
Okay.
He had COVID, so he couldn't get on with it. So
apparently it's real.
And then we got to get a show for the last week. So that's still out there.
I think you know what I want to do for that one. I want to do the year-end high school bro.
We can do that.
Christmas special. Even though
God, I'd have to come in here for Sonny. I love that guy.
We'll be in here next Thursday.
Yeah,
you can sit right there if you want.
Our kids went to school together. Man, he is awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. We have that couch over there. People come over here and just sometimes sit and watch.
In that corner talking garbage over there in the peanut gallery.
It's been done. It's been done before.
Yeah,
let me just tell you. So, but anyway, thanks everybody. We're gonna wrap this up and.